it's difficult to get people awake, informed, and educated on the candidates.
Yeah, absolutely. So somebody was saying that they're not sold on Ramaswamy. So if you can let us know what it is you don't like about Ramaswamy or what you're not sold on, if that would be interesting. I'd like to get some feel on that. But let's be realistic. It does cost a lot of money to win an election. You doing mailings, doing signage, getting out. Mailings themselves are just so expensive, especially if you're going to follow the vote, especially if you're going to do it for an entire statewide election. That could cost quite a bit of money. But TV time, and then people are swayed by who they see the most. It's nobody does research on candidates that much. It's like if they see them on TV, hear them on the radio or podcast or something, or somehow they're sold on that person. They kind of feel like they know that person, and it works. It works.
Ramaswamy should be on Ohio Political News, I think. He's invited.
We had Marino on one time. We did have Marino on one time.
Yes.
And that was a surprise. And the guy, that's the one thing about Marino, and he's just a great candidate. That was he was at an event. He said, "Yeah, I'll come on at 7:30," and about 7:35, I look. He's in the Zoom room, and he's in his car driving to another event. So in between, he talked to us for about 10 minutes. And that's just
Joe. You interviewed him in Ashtabula, didn't you? We went to that fair in Ashtabula.
Ashtabula, we talked to him. It's right, Ashtabula as well. We talked to him with.
Hello.
Hey, John's here.
There he is.
Hey, Commissioner Plechnik.
The commish made it. That's good to see you, man. We're waiting. Let's see, it's 7:30, so Lavene Gore should be coming on here real soon. I'm hoping she connects. I'm going to keep an eye on the Zoom room, and hopefully she'll connect with us here really soon, and we can talk to her about her candidacy. She's running for mayor of Cleveland. And
I do have, I'm messaging with somebody in her campaign.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm getting a positive response. It does look like she does plan on joining us. She may just be running a minute late.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Does the commissioner have a take on Vivek Ramaswamy?
Yeah, what do you think of Vivek, man? What do you think?
I think that Vivek is by far, leagues, the best choice for Ohio. Now, obviously, he's younger than I am. He's still a tabula rasa in many respects. And I want to learn more about his position on property taxes. My understanding is he's expressed an openness, but has not made a decision on where he stands. But overall, he's a Trump-supporting conservative businessman who wants to take Ohio in the opposite direction of Dr. Acton, which is something I absolutely support.
Okay, a quick question to you also is Tim Ryan is throwing his name in the hat. Now, he's going to run for governor. Allison Russo is going to be his running mate. She's going to be lieutenant governor. I think that, not that I'm a Democrat, but I think that makes for a strong Democrat team. What do you think?
I think that Tim Ryan and Sherrod Brown are the single two strongest candidates that the Democrat Party of Ohio has to put up. We have to acknowledge that. I mean, Sherrod Brown is the candidate. Tim Ryan is his mini-me. And that is the team up we fear the most. But even so, I have confidence in saying that Vivek and John Husted are going to be victorious on election night. No question in my mind.
Yeah, I do too. I think so too. But I was just hoping Amy Acton was going to be a solo act. Acton be a solo act. That's what it should have happened. And I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do with Amy Acton anymore.
I think they're going to have to put her in lockdown.
They're gonna.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna do what? We got to end property taxes. We got to end property taxes.
Commissioner Plechnik, if Vivek is such a shoe-in, why does he need to spend $26 million then?
Because it takes $26 million to be a shoe-in. The reality is he's going to have to let the people of Ohio know that he's endorsed by Donald J. Trump. He's going to have to let the people of Ohio know that he's the conservative Republican choice and alternative to Tim Ryan and Dr. Acton. So that's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of resources to get the message out. When I look at how much it costs in a city council race in Willoughby Hills or a commissioner's race in Lake County, multiply that by 88 times, you start to get an idea of how expensive a statewide race is. It's not right, but you do need money to get your message across.
Yeah, I have heard in Lake County, some commissioners have spent in excess of $300,000. Is that correct?
I think that is correct. I'd say, I'll fully admit this. I think probably the top spends have been from Commissioner Beveridge, Commissioner Woolger, and myself over the years. I'd say our campaigns have probably raised and spent the most.
Well, I think eventually, once Ohio political news gets big enough, everyone will just get their answers from here, and they can save all those millions of dollars. We will have a broadcast to all Ohio households, and people can just gather their information about the potential candidates for whatever office from Ohio political news. Easy peasy.
Yeah,
then you can make your informed decision. You can be an informed electorate based upon the work that we do here at Ohio Political News.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan's halfway joking, but only halfway. And I want to share with everyone, I was super excited. I saw today that my little clip on Ohio Political News, where I rightly say the property taxes are too damn high, well, that clip got over 1 million views on Ohio Political News. So anyone who doesn't recognize Ohio Political News as the #1 source for real news in Ohio isn't paying attention. The reach is incredible. We are speaking to conservatives directly with no filter, no censorship. This is Newsmax. This is Real America's voice on the local level, and it is awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, 1 million views. That is awesome, there, Commissioner. 1 million views on that. Hey, yeah, and I think we've got to give a shout out to Kent Kowalski for making that real. Nice job, Kent.
Yeah. Kent is actually
Kent
coaching me
tonight.
on that too.
Kent, you're with us tonight. I know you are.
Where's Kent? Kent, are you there?
Calling Kent. I know he's here.
Well, I just have to say, Kent is a social media genius, and his work facilitating Joe Miller and Ohio Political News and all the guests like myself who are blessed to come on your show
I'm here.
and share a perspective. We owe a great debt to Kent Kowalski.
Yep, absolutely, John.
Ken, take a bow, will you? Everybody's saying good things about you.
Yeah, you can.
So humble.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so if we're killing a minute here, waiting for hopefully Laverne Jones Gore comes in and joins us.
I think she just joined us. Hang on 1 second.
Oh, I'll save my Allison Russo story for another time then.
No, I don't know. You can
But
spit it out real quick
make
if you
sure-
like. Go ahead.
Joe, I just want you to make sure before you let them out of the Zoom room that it's Laverne Jones Gore and not Al Gore, because I don't want to deal with Al Gore tonight.
Laverne Gore.
Yeah, we're not going to deal
Opposite
with
end
that
of the
stuff, but
spectrum.
we are going
Laverne
to
Jones
deal with
Gore is
Laverne.
good.
Laverne, how you
Laverne
doing
Jones
there?
Gore is good. Oh, I think
let's see.
you're muted.
Let's see if we got your sound. Let me see if we got sound. Go ahead and say something. Doesn't sound like we got sound. Hang on a minute. It could be on my end. So hang on. So I'm not.
Is Mayor Bibbs censoring this broadcast?
Uh-oh.
I wouldn't put it past him. I don't trust the guy.
Try now, Laverne. And I don't have audio.
All right, keep talking, please. And Joe is going to work on audio.
We're going to work on audio.
We're working on it.
Can you open up your window and just yell out the window, and we'll catch the audio that way?
No.
All right, Kent, am I screwing it up, or is it a problem on their end?
Kent to the rescue. Kent, please help.
Check the audio on your the input for her. See if it's picking up anything.
Oh no.
Wait a minute. There you go. It was me.
I can hear you. I can hear
There we
you.
go.
It was me. It was me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Very good. So we do have you now. So let me give a intro to you here. It says Lavene Gore, businesswoman, political candidate running for mayor of Cleveland, challenging, of course, Mayor Justin Bibb. Conservative, and positioned yourself as a voice for change in Cleveland, which we desperately need.
Okay.
And you're a Marine wife, mother of a West Point graduate, and you're a Republican who stands for constitutional freedoms, equality, prosperity, which are three good things.
But now I'm running. I'm an independent on this. An independent.
Yeah, that's right. You are running as an independent. That's right. Not as a Republican, as an independent. And
No.
there is no Republican running, right?
No, there isn't. No.
Okay. So just the Democrat and you now as an independent. So you're making history as the first independent conservative black woman to become an official candidate for mayor of Cleveland. So congratulations
yes.
on that.
Thank you.
Public safety. Yeah, I know it's raining.
Yay.
It's snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the DEI snow. Okay, that's what that is. We have public safety, education reform, economic innovation, senior services, and affordable housing. Those are some of the issues on your campaign.
I think those are all of the issues. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, those are probably all of them. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's been a crazy day, early voting, souls to the polls. We had a lot of things going on. But Cleveland has a lot of things going on, and I'm sure you already know that,
They do have a lot. They do. Well, we'll talk about some of those issues. And the election's just is a few days away. It's Tuesday, right?
Thank God. Thank God. Are you sure it's this Tuesday? Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
thank God.
It's Tuesday, so thank God for that. Right. Let me start off with a question here because, and we got other people here too that'll be asking you stuff. We'll just have some fun with it.
Wait a minute. This isn't a grilling session, is it? I can get asked questions too, right?
Oh, you want to ask questions? You could.
I'm very excited about that Ohio property tax initiative. I am very excited.
All right. Well,
Very excited.
that Brian will love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited.
Thank you so
about
much,
that.
Laverne.
Yes, that's something I'm very excited about.
So you're
We could add
100%
you-
behind that, right?
I signed the petition months ago.
Oh, Laverne, we're going to put you on our Heroes of Ohio video.
The Hall of Fame.
And I'm
just
I'm
made the Hall of
serious
Fame.
about that. We are every time we have a someone in office that signs the petition, we'll add their picture and name to our Heroes of Ohio. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
good.
if I'm a hero. It just makes sense. It just makes
Well, yes, thank you.
Makes a lot of sense, without a doubt.
Yes.
All right, let's ask you a question.
Okay.
Most urgent challenge facing Cleveland right now that you want to tackle if you became mayor?
I think that I could say one thing, but I have to tell you it's a combined thing. We're talking about safety. If you can't go out your house, if you can't participate in the goings-on of a city, safety is the most important. I'm sure you all have read about the things that have happened in Cleveland. We've had a lot of murder, death, kill. We've had a lot of things that make no sense. We've had a child molested by other children. We've had just the crime index is off the hook. And we have my opponent who said it was down by 50%. And I don't know if he called down the summons of a greater power, but it just seemed like it's gone nuts. This is insane what's happening here in Cleveland. This is insane.
So
I'll combine
crime,
that with education, because I truly, truly believe that an educated population can understand law and order. Law and order is very important. And I know that we have had some bad times here in Cleveland, but we have to start focusing on that. We have to increase our police force. We have to get this under control, because if children are being affected in the schools, then You have to pull the educate. We have a 66% illiteracy ratio in Cleveland. If you don't understand the law, if you don't understand how this whole situation works as far as government is concerned and how we aid each other and assist citizens, then you have no respect for it. So we're not even teaching people how to read here. We have to start teaching the children, the young people, how to read and respect the law.
Hang on 1 second. So, 1 second. So you're saying that it's not 66% that are reading below grade level.
We have
You're saying there's 66% that can't read, period.
Illiteracy. Well, reading, I don't know, I also have my master's degree in education. Reading is comprehension. You just don't read words, because that's not just reading. Reading with understanding is part of the illiteracy context. And we have a 66% illiteracy ratio. And you know what? I don't want anybody to raise any flags, because I really believe if we start understanding how the state evaluated the educational process within Ohio, we've got problems. We've got problems.
We got big problems.
And
we spend so much.
Cleveland is where I'm running, so I'm focused.
We're spending so much in those property taxes. Cleveland per pupil is like one of the highest in the entire state.
Exactly.
And you're not getting your money's worth there. Obviously, they're not.
We haven't gotten our money's worth for a long time. This isn't a problem that came up yesterday, but it's been exacerbated by this administration. We have people, superintendents, who are giving state of the schools address at the city club as opposed to coming to your local high school gym and talking to parents. We're having them at 12 noon, where the business community comes in instead of parents, because those are the people we want to reach. We want to reach parents. We want to talk to people, community leaders. But we had it at the City Club, and we sold tickets to find out how your child and what the expectations for the educational process here in Cleveland is. We sold tickets at the City Club at 12 noon when most people are working, because you do understand, and I'm not certain if any of you gentlemen do, that Cleveland is one of the poorest cities for its size in the nation.
No, it is.
So you've got poverty, you've got illiteracy, you've got unemployment. I mean, do you want me to go on?
No. The problem with Cleveland is everybody's moved out too. It used to have like 1 million people. Now it's got like 350,000. It just shrunk to nothing.
Sure.
Let me go around the horn here, and you guys ask her a question while we've got her here. She could be the next mayor of Cleveland.
Should be.
Laverne, again, when I think about the Cleveland Browns, where the state has given them $600 million, and they're moving it out of Cleveland, it just seems to me that they're hollowing out the sort of the foundation of the city of Cleveland. And when I look at Cleveland, when I was growing up, we were down there all the time, going down to the Galleria and that sort of thing. Now we don't even think about going down there again as a safety factor. So I agree. It starts with education. And somehow we've got to rebuild the family structure. In not only in Cleveland but in our society. But if you have children that are can't read, comprehend, illiteracy, they're not going to be able to hold a job. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that we're just not going to advance. So Cleveland has not advanced at all. It has retreated, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think one of the things you have to look at when you're talking about that, and I think that's a very important discussion to have, the population has diminished. And it's diminished because we don't offer anything. How can you offer a corporation? I just read in the Wall Street Journal the other day, I think it's J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan said they want to invest $1.2 trillion into light manufacturing and manufacturing within these urban centers, right? Here's the catch-all. They need work-ready people. If you have a failing educational system, then you don't have entry-level people. You don't have them that can read. So certainly, we don't have a situation where we can offer opportunities to corporations to bring their headquarters here, to bring their businesses here. because we don't have anything that they can utilize. And I'm talking about human capital. We all know that the state, not the state, the country is about 20 years behind in technology. And we have to have an educated population in order to keep up with the world. The world.
Correct.
And Cleveland, now I'm not going to put her down because I think she has something that's very exciting. And I've lived all over the world. I don't know if my bio told you that. But, we have something here in Cleveland that is exciting. We have one of 10 freshwater lakes in the entire world. In the entire world. People think, oh my God, Lake Erie is one. We have one of 10 freshwater lakes in the entire world. Now, I'm going to jump back to your Cleveland Browns statement. I don't know how we can give $600 million away. And then the mayor here says that we're going to get $100 million. So did we get $100 million of the $600 million of the taxpayers' dollars? Or is there a new $100 million that came in out of the $600 million that was taxpayers' dollars? I don't see the benefits of having 2 Cokes and a fist bump and only walking away with $100 million. When I signed my real estate contract for my house, I have 2 lawyers present. We signed a $100 million deal for Browns, and we didn't just lose the Browns, we lost the IX Center. It seems like there's a fire sale going on here in Cleveland, but that's another issue. We signed a contract or an agreement that's lended us $100 million when the state gave us $600. So that means even if you just loaned $100 million of the $600, you're still out of pocket for anything. But there were no lawyers present. We had this deal conducted over 2 Cokes and a fist bump. I find that highly irregular, but nobody else thought it was irregular. And we didn't include city council. We included something very interesting in that we had it at one of the negotiators, or I guess negotiators' homes, and we weren't included in it. The citizens of Cleveland have been left out of this very, very important deal because we have small businesses that count on the Browns, in case you guys don't know.
Well, all the restaurants, all the restaurants and everything around the stadium definitely count on the Browns and all the people that go to see them and stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot that I want to say here, but I'm actually going to back up a step and start off by saying welcome to the show, Lavene.
Thank you so much.
Lavene and I have had a chance through the years of getting to know one another. I consider Lavene a friend, and I'm a huge advocate, and I really hope that she wins. So the first thing I'm actually going to suggest for our audience is find Lavene on social media and follow her. There are people I'm sure that you know who live in and care about the city of Cleveland. People need to get her message. That's going back to what I said earlier about an informed electorate. I really truly believe that if people get to know Lavene Jones Gore, she will receive a huge upswell in support from the community. She's a great candidate, with a good person with a spectacular heart. I've followed her for years on social media and stayed in touch for about 5 years now. So it's a delight to have you on the program. I wanted to get that out first. So find Lavene Jones Gore on social media and follow her. She's very active on Facebook. Just a few days ago, the story of that little girl who was attacked by kids and molested. I wouldn't know of that if it weren't for Lavene caring about community. For anybody that knows, this comes up every once in a while, my family for a few generations has been very involved in the city of Cleveland. My father was very known in and around Playhouse Square and the rebuild. That's a proud part of my family's history. I will always have a massive place in my heart for the city of Cleveland, and I care passionately. And I think that's a lot of what's led me to be a big supporter of Lavene Jones Gore. Getting on to the things that she referenced as a former board member, chair, and territory lead of Protect Ohio Children, we covered Cleveland Municipal School District, and I happen to know a lot about it. I've looked up on the fiscal statements, the financials from Ohio Department of Education. Most recent reports show $26,137 per pupil. Keep in mind, again, of course, that's not the total sum. You're closer to $30,000 when you add in the Educational Service Center and some of the other off-balance sheet things. So figure $30,000 per pupil. You have a lot of expense with not the right amount and the right people in oversight, and you're ending up with children who are not prepared for life adequately. I suggest, again, and this is what I've been banging the drum for years, getting competent, skilled, capable people in leadership roles is going to be critical to getting this thing turned around. All this talk about we just need more money in Cleveland schools, that's not the answer. We need accountability. We need safety. For heaven's sakes, these kids can't walk to school without facing violence and life-threatening situations. Get rid of that nasty thing, I forget what it's called, that oversight contract or whatever it's called, for Cleveland cops. Build back up that Cleveland Police Department, put some pride back in that police department, bring safety back, and let's get these kids a better education. And I think we could probably do it with a more fiscally responsible budget by saving Cleveland taxpayers a lot of money. And the last thing, I made myself some notes while Laverne was speaking. Her counterpart, the person that she's running against, don't forget, what was it, 3 years ago, I was calling out Justin Bibb because he was one of the first people in the nation started to advocate for this 15-minute cities. He was like, yeah, let's do it in Cleveland. Let's have the first rollout. If you're like me and think that is a horrible idea, it's threatening and intimidating and awful, the concept of these 15-minute cities. And I guess I'll turn that into a question. If that's something you know about or would care to comment on, it's my understanding that Justin Bibb, Cleveland's current mayor, was one of the first vocal proponents advocating for 15-minute city in Cleveland proper.
That a question? Yes, he was. But what I want to tell you is, and some of your audience may not know, is that Cleveland has a very, very interesting situation. We have mayoral control over the school systems. I don't know if your viewers or your listeners understand that. What that means is he has another bucket of money that he can play with and hire friends and maybe not look to as a resume builder. I think that now I want you to, I like full transparency, and I hope you all understand that. I did vote for Justin Bibb, okay? I voted for Justin Bibb because I thought young people need to have an opportunity. Young people need to be present as we go forward in our country. I really believe that. I'm very disappointed because I think one of the things that happened was this was one of the other things on Justin Bibb's resume building status that happened. Yes, he was very involved in the 15-minute cities. But the 15-minute cities doesn't offer any opportunities for those people that are already here. It doesn't offer opportunities for seniors. It doesn't offer opportunities for children because we didn't focus on things that make these 15-minute cities that he thinks is so important. The green cities. And I am all for the environment. I want you to know that. But Cleveland has a certain set of problems that we can ill afford to ignore the basic concepts of these problems. We're talking about affordable housing. And he's saying 15-minute cities. He wants to get rid of the cars. He wants to make the one-way streets, make us all walking. When's the last time you guys spent winter in Cleveland? I don't know if the rest of you live in Cleveland, or near Cleveland. Some of the things that Justin has in his head, I think were just basic resume building ideas. They were talking points with no practical implementation on it. I just don't believe that he thought it out. I think Justin Bibb was thinking that he was going to take on another role within our country I don't think he meant to stay here. So he was throwing anything up against the wall, and sometimes it sticks, right? And I don't think he had any idea about 15-minute cities either. I just think that was a concept that he read somewhere and he grabbed a hold of it, or his handlers gave him. We have a situation here in Cleveland where and I say we in Cleveland, but I want you all to know that live in the suburbs, Cleveland is your hub, okay? And because we're your hub, you have to understand that what happens in Cleveland may not affect you today, but it certainly will affect you. Because if you can't bring businesses, and if we take Cleveland and we make sure that Cleveland doesn't have anything to offer to corporations, industry, manufacturing, jobs, then what do you think happens when you have a city that's the most impoverished city in the nation? Do you think they stop and they don't come out to Solon, Shaker, Beechwood? I was just talking to a group of people in Beechwood the other day, and I said, you can ill afford to put Justin Bibb back in here and keep things going the way they're going right now. You just can't. Because so Cleveland goes, so the region goes. And I think many people have forgotten about that. This 15-minute concept of ideas, and I'm not going to say it won't work in 2050. Might. But right now, it is not the focus. It is not something that is even credible to even discuss. When you have potholes, you have crime, you have education problems, you have afforded. Do you know we have people living in the cemetery over in Tremont? Did any of you know that? There's a homeless camp in the Tremont Cemetery. Did you know that?
No,
did you know down on Superior Avenue?
No, we did not know that. No, nobody knew that. That's just insanity. But you're right.
Yes.
I mean, there's such big problems with the crime,
Yes.
with the housing, with everything,
housing,
and to be worrying about the 15-minute cities is pretty
right. Whether we can grow
stupid. That's
lettuce
what
in
that
the
is.
City Hall.
That's stupid. I'm going to send over to Mark, who's also running, by the way.
Hi,
he's
Mark.
running against Dave Joyce for Congress. But do you have a question, Mark?
Yeah, good to see you again, Laverne.
Good to see you.
As you know, we both ran in the 11th Congressional District.
Yes.
As Republicans, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Now, this race, you said you're independent. Is the mayor's race in Cleveland, is that a nonpartisan race? Or you just decided not to run as a Republican?
No, I'm going to tell you what happened. And I guess the Republican Party decided for me. Well, and again, you may not like my candor or transparency, but I believe it's fair to tell to the people. We were told by the chairperson of our party that they were endorsing the Democrat who was running for mayor. We don't have to mention his name because he has since dropped out. But the Republican Party was endorsing a different candidate who was a Democrat. So being an independent, I said, well, if the Republican Party doesn't want me, I'm okay.
Wow, that is interesting. Wow. I did not realize that. So the Republican Party just said, no, we're not going to have any Republicans run. We're going to try to get this Democrat who... Now, was it a real Democrat or was it a Democrat in name only?
No, it was a
legit Democrat.
Legitimate Democrat. Yes.
Okay, because sometimes you can't win with a certain party affiliation. So Democrats do it. We call them rhinos. And then you have some kind of an infiltration with a Democrat who's really kind of a Republican, but maybe that wasn't...
You know what? You can't win if you don't run people.
Yep.
True.
And support them.
And support them. But if you admit defeat before you even get out the gate, I've not gone to the races in a long time, the Kentucky Derby, but I never saw anybody just not get in it,
That's crazy.
We're not going to put this horse in it because Secretariat's in it. There usually is about, 6 other horses in it?
Yeah. Well, how are the Republicans, let me get the commission here, how is a Republican going to win if the Republican Party won't run a Republican? You ever hear of such a thing? Unreal.
Unfortunately, we have, but I want to take things in a little different direction because the mayor of Cleveland is not just automatically a board member of NOACA, the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency, the MPO that controls most of the transportation dollars that flows through to local counties and cities in Northeast Ohio. But they also have several appointees who serve in the NOACA board. I think in total, the mayor controls essentially 6 votes.
Oh, I thought it was 4. Okay, so you're...
there's a real influence there. There's a real influence there from Cleveland, and I'm disturbed by the direction that Cleveland has been taking their transportation decisions. A few months ago, I remember sitting in church in St. Vitus, East 55th Street. That's my parish. And a former student of mine who was appointed a municipal court judge by the governor sits down next to me out of the blue and says, "Hey, professor." And I said, "What are you doing here?" He says, "Well, there's a big town hall meeting in your church hall after Mass, so here we are." And I was kind of surprised, but lo and behold, it was a meeting hosted by NOACA. And they were so excited about the quote unquote road diet that they were imposing on Superior. In other words, shrinking the thoroughfare, shrinking the street, and putting in a bike trail. And quite literally, every small business owner along Superior said, "This is going to wreck our business. It's going to make it impossible for traffic to get through and patronize us. You're taking one of the most important thoroughfares into Cleveland and you are shrinking it down. And on top of that, you're using the woke terminology of road diet, as though it's a good thing to shrink one of your major thoroughfares, and bragging about it like this is some exciting feature, when in reality, the city's effectively admitting surrender. They're saying, we're going to keep shrinking. We can't afford to maintain roads this large. We're basically admitting we have no future. And in the process, we're going to destroy all the local businesses up and down Superior. And NOACA and the city of Cleveland were both working hand in hand on this devastating project. So I want to get your sense, if you're the mayor of Cleveland, you're on NOACA, you have a number of appointees who are on NOACA, how do you throw those votes, and how do you address the trend that Cleveland has had of shrinking their thoroughfares, calling it road diets, and really choking off the major veins and arteries of business in Cleveland?
You know, I met with some business owners down in the city of Cleveland, right? And they did express exactly what you're saying right now. You know, the only thing I can say is, you know, in corporate America, I don't know how many of you gentlemen are affiliated with corporate America or have worked in corporate America. You know, you get 90 days to review your hire, you know? The only thing I can suggest to you on this issue is we made a bad hire with Justin Bibb. We made a bad hire who was looking for his next job. And I don't think he cared nor loved Cleveland. I think he thought he could do whatever was expedient. And I think he was looking to take the fastest rail out of town or bike out of town. I do not believe that any thought. I've met with some of the people in the city of Cleveland, and I can suggest to you that it's frightening. It's absolutely frightening, the disregard that they have for the city of Cleveland. This used to be the best location in the nation. We have a freshwater lake. We have 4 major league teams. And you're telling me that the best we can do is sell off all of our assets, shrink our freeways, move to Brook Park, and start bike lanes and one-way highway. I think Prospect's going to be one-way too. I'm just saying to you that NOACA, under my leadership, will have to review. I believe Cleveland can grow. I believe Cleveland still has what it takes to be a city. I believe that we have a case that we can present to the federal government for an exclusive involvement. We have the fresh water. We have the airport. We have everything they need. This is a baby New York. As a matter of fact, Rockefeller was here first. And we blew it with Rockefeller. But I believe that we just have poor leadership. I don't think the current administration knows one thing about what they're doing. And as far as NOACA is concerned, you have to understand leadership starts at the head, right? That's why they call it lead. But we also have to be willing to invest in opportunities in Cleveland. Not one person has said anything about the opportunities of Cleveland. Now we're on to the lakefront. Now we're on to every day there's something new about what's going to happen. I'm not certain that you understand. We're talking about Superior. I want to know how we're going to handle the airport congestion that happens over in Brook Park once we move there.
That's going to be a disaster. That's going to be an absolute disaster.
then we're talking about Superior. Let's talk about that follicle. But the good part about it is we have 90 over there, and 90 runs through several states. So it's going to be more communication, more interest, and more accountability. Okay.
Yeah, and also with the stadium too, that people aren't considering is that there's going to be a lot of road work. They've got to, I've read where they've got to like 71, and that's got to be an extra off-ramp created or something. There has to be an overpass built, and this
to the airport. Yes.
This 600 million that was given is probably 1/3 of what's actually going to eventually be given to them to accomplish what they want. Well, I want to wish you the best of luck. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you again for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
I'd like your prayers. If you're praying Christians, I'd really like your prayers.
Well, we will pray for you. Yep, we certainly will. Yep, we will.
You got it, Laverne.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Laverne.
Thank you.
We need you in Cleveland.
Thank you.
Again.
And good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. All right, so that was a great, that was a good discussion there. I hope she wins. I know she's a huge underdog, but
that would be a huge win for Cleveland. I'd love to see Cleveland turn around.
Win. Yeah, that would be an off-the-charts win. All right, I want to talk here for a minute about SNAP. You guys know what SNAP is, and then we're going to talk property taxes, but this quick thing with SNAP. Okay, but before we get to SNAP, do you guys know who these 55 people are? I'll give you a hint. They're senators. Oh. They are the 55 that voted not to have a shutdown, okay? And you can see all of the Republican that are in red. We have one Libertarian, and we have two Democrats that actually said they didn't want to shut the government down. Two. One is Fetterman, and I'm not sure who the other one is. I didn't bother looking it up. But two Democrats there in blue. Now, here are the ones that want to keep the government shut down. And they're all Democrats, of course, except for Bernie. Bernie is your Libertarian. And then there's one Republican, Rand Paul, which I didn't know he was Republican, but apparently he is. And so they're they're opposed.
I think there's a correction there, Joe. Bernie's not a Libertarian. Bernie's a socialist.
Yeah, on his way to being a communist.
Correct. And
I got this thing right here I want to show you. Now, Jeff Skinner, who writes for the Ohio Register, he put this together. Food riots are canceled. Ohio opens emergency funding. He's talking about SNAP. Okay, so SNAP was just cut. The benefits were cut, apparently, at least to some people. And so they averted some of the riots. But there's this lady here, which is kind of funny. I want to play this for a second. Let's see if I can play this. Anyhow.
Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store. So.
She went to the store.
They wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps. So this is what I stole. Okay. They wanted $9 for this.
They wanted. They wanted. You understand? She didn't pay for any of this, right?
Then they wanted $2 for this. They wanted. Sorry, it's all fucked up because it's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today.
More F-bombs.
These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that. Okay.
I got to cut the audio.
Why would she record
she's got a few more
herself?
things. Look at what else she pulled out. She's got all these ribs. What's that, Brian?
Why would she record herself and admit that she's been stealing?
I don't think she cares in the least bit. I think a lot of people are doing it. So, in other words, there's that. And then she goes into a tirade about Trump. F-bomb after F-bomb after F-bomb. And, she's got to eat. She's got to pay eat. Her family has to eat. But it's all shoplifting. So, apparently these people are like, some of them are saying, hey, since I can't get the SNAP, I can't use my card and just get the food, I'm entitled to go and just throw it into my purse and my handbag and stuff like that and walk out with it.
That mentality has been piped in. Actually, I'm going to interject something because it was one of the notes that I made to possibly bring up, well, Laverne Jones Gore was speaking about education in Cleveland. This is a great opportunity for a plug for a friend of many of ours, Khalid Namar. He's based in the Cleveland area, and he has a program called CREED. And CREED he's a guest speaker at colleges and K through 12 and universities, campuses all over the place. And he teaches basic civics and understanding about basic principles about what it takes to make a society function well. You should look up Khalid Namar and CREED. It's a CREED. It's an educational program that he goes and speaks places. This concept has been pushed into society that, like, well, if you can't get it for free, then just go and steal it. And there's no understanding of the implications of that. These people who are going and stealing things don't realize that that drives up cost and closes stores. So you have these raids and looting, which is it's basically just an extension of the same mentality. You just go and shove as much stuff into a cart and take off with it. It leads to those stores closing, and it leads to the cost of those things going up for everybody else. So you end up with fewer stores with much more expensive stuff. And then eventually they have to do like what you see in California, which is to lock things up and add security. There are grocery stores where they're like everything is behind a plexiglass case that has to be unlocked for you to get your can of soup because people were stealing so much. That is fundamentally awful and broken, and people don't realize that this is designed to destroy society. It has spread like wildfire all over social media, but just so that everybody knows and doesn't lose hope, there is a counterbalance of a lot of people posting on social media, calling them out and telling them, no, that's wrong, and here's why, and here's what to do instead. I caught a great video of a woman who has all this stuff, and she holds up, she's like, this is a box of noodles, and this is a can of tuna fish, and you can get these for like $1 each, and you simply put them on the stove, and you can make food for $2 and make it, and put some saltines on the top, and it's almost like a tuna casserole. Then they're pushing back. You're finding it on social media. So there are a lot of posts that are just a gut punch to society of people like this saying, if I don't get it for free, I'm just going to go and steal it. But just keep looking if you are on social media, and you will find some hope and some counterbalance.
So, Joe, 4 words: thou shalt not steal.
Wait, who said that?
We need to remember the 10 Commandments. We need to remember the Bible. Our government was not made for immoral men or women. A free society, a store where you can pick up a can of soup, assumes that you are not going to steal it if you can. And we will lose our freedoms, and we will lose this free market society if we don't maintain law and order. Yeah, there's a reason why the biggest line item in Lake County's budget is law enforcement, whether it be the sheriff's office, the courts, the prosecutor. When people are convicted of crimes in Cuyahoga County, it's often catch and release. People get in, they get out. Sometimes they don't even need bail. In Lake County, when they find out they accidentally committed a crime in Willowick or Willoughby Hills right on the border, they cry and they gnash their teeth because they know we have a dedicated prosecutor's office that is going to hold them to account. Shoplifting is a very bad idea in Lake County, Ohio, and we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. We will put you in jail, and yeah, that's why we have to build a big new jail. Sadly, these things are necessary, but we have to have elected officials who maintain law and order so that our stores and our businesses are safe. We can't allow every time people disagree with a president or a political decision, a riot or shoplifting. Ultimately, people have to follow the law. We have to enforce the law when they don't. And we need to start rebuilding morality in society so that we don't have to spend so much money on enforcement. People enforce for themselves.
That's very good. Very good. So you guys are against stealing, I guess, is what you're saying. I just thought it was interesting that they feel as though they have that right and that responsibility. They can just go ahead and do it.
But Joe, that's the point. In some jurisdictions, there's so little enforcement of the law that people feel safe putting on a video and saying, "Hey, look what I stole." You're confessing to various misdemeanors and felonies on tape with your face showing for the whole world to see. That's a very powerful statement that you believe your county prosecutor, your city prosecutor is going to do nothing. And that's why we need to have mayors and county governments that enforce the law.
You better believe it. I wanted to show you guys something. It's called NAP. Stealing violates the non-aggressive principle. I want to show you something here. We talked about this earlier. That's Tim Ryan and Allison Russo. They're going to be running. And look, who's this guy here? This is off our X account. You guys been recognize him? John, you're preaching and doing a great job. Brian,
So that's the one that got a million hits. That's a good one.
yeah, that is. All right. Let's talk about this, Brian.
Yes. It's the Senator Jerry Serino speaking to about 100 politicians in Lake County, in Willoughby Hills last week, or 2 weeks ago now. And Jerry was basically saying that the amendment to abolish property taxes is irresponsible, and he is telling everyone in that room to tell 100 people not to support it, and if it does get on the ballot, they should vote against it. So we feel that Senator Serino is declaring war on we the people of Ohio. He does not believe really in freedom and liberty. It's very obvious. He's got his bases covered, but he thinks that if a senior can't afford their property taxes, they should sell their home and move into an apartment, and that will help with the housing shortage in Ohio. Very cold and cruel.
Let me play this.
So what
let's
done
listen to it
is
for 1 second. So this came off of your, I believe.
Yeah, I recorded for the live stream for Ohio Political News, and also I recorded it for lobbyists. So I think Kent may have edited it, and I'm not sure.
So let's see if we can hear it. Let's see if we can hear it here. Nope. Now, wait, I got to turn this up. Wonder why I can't. All right, hang on 1 second.
Yeah,
I got to get that louder so that we can hear it.
Unfortunately,
if you click on the audio signal, the insignia at the bottom, the little icon with the speaker, does it give you a volume control?
Looks like it's not selected, Joe. The little audio icon on the bottom.
Hang on 1 minute. Can you guys hear this at all? Wait.
No.
Oh.
No.
It's silent. Yeah. So maybe click on that little speaker icon and see if it has a slider control.
All right. I'll see if I can get it. I thought for sure you guys could hear that. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So let's do this then, Brian. Let's go and explain what that was, because I think it's really important. So Senator Serino of Lake County, right? State senator.
He is, he's District 18, I believe. Not only Lake County, he's got, I think, Geauga and something, maybe even
Actually,
Portage.
correction, Brian, correction. His district used to include Lake Geauga and Portage. I know this because I was Republican State Central Committeeman for Senate District 18 at the time. So it was a Lake Geauga Portage district. But in the last redistricting, it changed to Lake Cuyahoga.
Lake Cuyahoga. Yeah, well, he was invited to speak to the politicians in Willoughby Hills. The commissioner for Lake County, Regovich and Beveridge, were explaining that there's going to be a reduction in property taxes for certain seniors, the homestead exemption, and the other 2.5% credit, home ownership credit, and most of it is going to be paid for by the communities. Commissioner Pletchik may be able to give some more details, but I was there on behalf of Ohio Political News to live stream it, and I was really aghast when I heard what Senator Serino said, and what I wanted to do and what I did do today was I sent a survey to all of the state senators and the state representatives, asking them if they're going to sign the petition. Basically, the options are, yes, I've already signed it, because there are two, Tex Fisher and Jennifer Gross they've already signed a petition to abolish property taxes. Then they can say they will sign it, no, they won't sign it, and no, they won't sign it because they agree with Jerry Serino, and the other thing is they're unsure. So what we're going to do, I've given them 2 weeks to respond to that survey, and I will post that survey, on Lobbyists for Citizens and on Ohio Political News, so that the people can know how their senators and representatives, what they think about people being priced out of their homes.
So
the
let
jury
me just
declaring
say,
war on the people.
So let me just say, I think that this is going to be major news when Brian Massey releases the results of the survey, because Ohioans want to know where their state reps and state senators stand on this issue. Ultimately, short of a petition to amend the Ohio Constitution, the only one who can amend Ohio law are those folks, our state reps, our state senators. So their opinion on this issue matters more than anyone else. So I think a lot of folks want to know, where does my state rep, where does my state senator stand on the issue? And Brian, when you release those results, I think that they're going to be very powerful. Whether they respond or not, I think it's going to tell us a lot about where our state house and state senate stand in representing we the people. So that's number one. I think that's going to be huge news when it's released, and hopefully we'll hear it here first on Ohio Political News.
Okay, we'll save it for Ohio Political News.
But I will say, Brian's referring to the commissioner's vote this past week to double the homestead exemption and to double the owner occupancy credit on property taxes. And HB 96, which was the Ohio budget this year, gave a new power to county commissioners. It's not something we were told about, asked for. It was dropped in our lap without any notice by the budget. And essentially, the budget took effect, I think it was October 1st. And this bill gave us until October 31st to decide, do we double the homestead exemption for low-income seniors? Do we double the owner occupancy credit for homeowners or not? So we had essentially 1 month to make this decision. Unlike the base level, the original homestead exemption and owner occupancy credit, which are reimbursed by the state, which is how it should be, because the state ultimately gets the majority of our property tax to pay for public schools. This is not reimbursed. So it simply is a cut to every budget. It's a cut to Lake County's budget, which I vote on. It's a cut to every school district's budget. It's a cut to every library, city, village, township, taxing authority in the county. And so we had a choice. We either vote to give tax relief to homeowners and low-income seniors, or we don't. And that relief comes at the cost of government budgets. Now, I'm a conservative Republican, so that's always an easy decision for me. If I have an option to cut spending and cut taxes, heck yeah, That's where I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to do. I've never seen a tax cut I didn't like. So, while I wish the state stepped up and took responsibility for this tax cut, that they should really be cutting it out of their budget rather than local budgets, it still was the right thing to do, because the relief is targeted to seniors who are making less than $40,000 a year per household, low-income seniors and homeowners, and no one can dispute that those folks need help the most. I mean, to say that we weren't going to cut our collective budgets by 1.5% after the average Lake County homeowner saw their taxes go up 15%, I mean, there was no way I wasn't going to vote for that tax relief. But I had to say, and I said it loud and clear to News 5 and any other reporter listening, that this is nowhere near enough. The idea that doubling the owner occupancy credit from 2.5% to 5%, doubling the homestead exemption from an average benefit of $500 per senior to $1,000, that's nowhere near enough. And it doesn't roll back the increase we've seen in property taxes in even the last year. Just using Lake County as the example, property taxes went up in the last year by $52 million. By passing this property tax relief, we were able to return $14 million of that $52 million increase to the taxpayer. In other words, I was given the power by the state to give less than a third of the increase back. That's not enough. And so I ended every interview saying the next step is we need to sign the petition to abolish property taxes. Columbus still doesn't get it.
Yeah, let me try it this time and see if we can get some. Watch again. Let's see.
You can imagine property tax issues are the number one issues that we're dealing with in Columbus. But there's one message that I want to share with everybody here, and it's been written about a lot and talked about a lot. And that is the petition that's floating around to eliminate property taxes, or to declare that it is unconstitutional to collect property taxes is irresponsible. If you look at your tax receipts from July, take a look at all the institutions, all the groups that are levying the value of our property. Okay, it's not just the schools. That's the largest percentage for virtually every community. But we're talking about police levies, we're talking about libraries, senior citizens levies, in some cases, Lakeland Community College. It doesn't work, and I think it's an irresponsible proposal that they are floating around, and they're trying to give that no weight at all, give it no support. In fact, tell 100 people that you know that it would be ridiculous to support that levy. If it gets on the ballot, we're going to all have to work together to defeat it. And we'll see.
Okay, so if it gets on the ballot, he's going to do everything he can to defeat it, which doesn't sound very good. There's too much emphasis on police, on fire, on making sure that these guys are getting their pay increases and their cost of living increases and their new shiny red trucks and the schools. But there's no talk. If you listen to what Serino said there was nothing about the citizen. There was nothing about you or me not being able to afford these god-awful property taxes anymore. It was simply the services have to be funded, and that's it. The services have to be funded. That's all they care about.
Joe, people should look at Article 1 of the Ohio Constitution. All of these politicians, when they are sworn in for their office, they swear an oath to defend that Constitution. And that Article 1 talks about protecting property, and they're not doing that. And I'm saying that they're violating their oath of office. Serino didn't talk one word about cutting spending. And the in that meeting in Willoughby Hills, they're talking about reducing their budget 1.5%. You talk about weeping and gnashing of teeth. You had Chuck Hillier there from Painesville Township. He was it's like we were pulling the rug out from under him. So all of these they're going to have to learn to provide these services at a much more efficient cost. And we're not talking about not paying taxes. We're just saying, send us a bill for services, break down how much we're paying for police, for fire. I want to know, transparency is a key to good governance. I want to know how my payments for my services compare with other communities in Lake County. I want to make sure that they're good stewards of the taxpayers' money. And as far as school funding is concerned, we need to start consolidating these school districts. We just had Lavene Gore in there talking about, Cleveland schools, where 2/3 of the kids are illiterate. I mean, that is, and then paying what, $30,000, per student? Why would we continue doing that? It makes no sense. And unfortunately, the state legislators have just pushed this, down the road every year. They never really address it, and they're just worried about their donor class. They're not worried about the average citizen.
No,
Joe, I made this
correct
point.
on it.
I made this point at the commissioners meeting when I voted to double the owner occupancy credit and to double the homestead exemption for low-income seniors. And we heard some pushback of 1.5% cut to our budget. How are we going to manage? And I replied, did a single one of you ask the taxpayer how they were going to manage their budget with 10 times 1.5%, with a 15% increase or more in their taxes? Did one of you raise your hand and say, Grandma, Grandpa, next door neighbor, how are you going to afford this? The answer is no, you didn't. The burden has to shift from the taxpayer, who's always being forced to write a blank check and just make it work, to government. Government is all the paid professionals. They got the fiscal officers, the budget directors. They're the ones who should be forced to make the difficult decisions at their dais, at their table, rather than passing the buck to our kitchen table over and over again. Cry me a river when your budget is cut by 1.5%, when you're willing to pass on 15% increases to grandma and grandpa, and if they have to sell their homes, so be it. You don't give a damn as long as you're paid. This has got to stop.
It's not just grandma and grandpa. It's affecting everybody. It's affecting the youngest generation too, trying to be able to buy a house. So it's affecting everybody. But the citizens, and what I love about this movement that you guys are doing, is the citizens are taking the initiative and saying, to hell with the auditors and everything else. We're not paying the property taxes. The state can find the money. The state has to find the money, especially for the schools. The state has to fund the school system. It can't be done through a local city tax. It's got to come from the state. And the state brags about the fact that they balance the budget every year, but you notice it goes up like $10 billion every year, from the previous year. And that's how they balance it. It's so ridiculous.
They balance it by continuing to spend.
I think, Joe, even that's off the mark. There's something fundamentally wrong with our conversation if we start our conversation conceding defeat on recent dramatic escalations in cost. And we've said it before, and I'm going to keep banging the drum on this. In 2019, our state, let's start at the state and use it as an example. Our state budget was $67 billion. This year, we're at over $100 billion. Where's all that extra money going? Now break that down into county by county. If your county's budget, and they were just doing whatever they're doing at your county, administrative issues and roads and transportation and paperwork processing, if it cost your county $100 million, and suddenly, flash forward a few years later, and it's $200 million, where is the difference going? So this whole notion of we need to fund, quote unquote, just air quote that, we're going to fund police, fire, rescue, etc. Sure, of course, that sort of tugs at your heartstrings. Oh, of course. Gosh, let me pull out my checkbook, even though I might be struggling in my home and facing homelessness, and just continue to write these blank checks. At what point do we have to put our foot down and say, no, enough? And one other thing, I've done it before, I'm going to do it again now. I'm going to draw an analogy to your local school board meeting. I started a while ago. It was actually after a conversation with Alex Newman from The New American. He was talking about government schools. I was like, what's a government school? And he was like, I don't call them public schools anymore, paraphrasing, and now I use the same terminology. You can't call it a public school because if it were, they would listen to the public. I really truly believe, based on my years of experience, you could get every member, you could get 100% of the community to all load into an amphitheater and meet with the school board. And the school board, in many instances, would still vote against the interests and will of the people of that community. That's a broken system. That is not a public school. That is a school board, and it routinely happens. I watch it over and over, more often than not. They don't care what the community wants or what their interests are. I hear the same thing in that tone, and I'm very disappointed to hear it from Jerry Serino. Senator Serino's concept is fundamentally broken. He lost track. He lost the thread. He is to represent the will and interests of the people. And if the people tell him, hey, we're hurting, we're losing our homes, the answer isn't we must maintain our $100 billion budget at all costs, and I don't care if you need to get shoved out. We're going to kick you out the front door, Grandma, in your home that you and your husband spent 40 years buying. That's horrendous behavior on the part of Senator Serino, and I'm furious about it. That should not happen in any of these regards. If it's a state, a legislative body, a county board, your school board, I don't care who it is. More people need to have that concept in mind and go and put your foot down and bang that podium with outrage, organize the people around you, and make sure to get those people back in their lane. Their lane is not looking out for corporate interests. It's not filling their own pockets. It's not maintaining status quo. It is finding efficiencies where they can be found. And it goes back to what Commissioner Plechnik was talking about. We need to scale back the cost of government. This whole thing, it's infuriating. That whole concept of the new normal. COVID happened to us. Society had to work its way through COVID. I could make a whole episode on covering that fiasco. And sure, yeah, costs skyrocketed. We had tremendous, dramatic increases in cost of everything. Government ballooned during COVID. But to say that we need to continue at that pace it's actually hard to spend money at that pace. I'm running in my county. They can't figure out where to throw the money to next. They're buying $400,000 office renovations for some of our county officials. That's infuriating. That is crushing people. It's crushing. And it's getting people kicked out of their homes. They can't afford to eat. It's broken. And I think more of us need to be as angry as I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, the thing is, there's no transparency. So we don't know how much money the school systems are wasting. We know they are wasting a boatload of money in all of these organizations, whatever they are, whatever we're funding. We don't know how much they're wasting. And that is one of those things that we have got to get a handle on. And speaking of getting a handle on things, we got Mark Zetzer, and you're running for Congress, and I'm going to let you give us the last thought for the night, okay? And, good luck with your whole run, and you're a co-host tonight, so that we appreciate that tremendously. But you got any parting words for us? Because you're it. We're going to just close up shop here, but what do you got?
I've been around in 5 counties since April when I announced my exploratory committee, and all kinds of meetings and candidate debates. And the same thing that I'm hearing all the time, of course, is this massive inflation that started with COVID. Well, it didn't start with COVID, but it was ramped up like it was some type of World War type of expenditure. And all this inflation is showing us that government has become totally unaffordable to Americans, to average Americans, to taxpayers. And I think we really need to look at the fact that before we talk about Make America Great Again, what America are we talking about? Are we talking about the 1950s, the 1960s? Yeah, America was upward and coming. We had upward mobility. The economy and people benefited from innovations. The government inflation wasn't eating all those improvements up. But since then, we don't have much improvements, even though we continue to have innovations. We have incredible inventions, but the costs don't go down. What about if we look back to before 1913? Because that's when the federal income tax started. That's when the Federal Reserve started. But before that, the country was growing incredibly well, and we had everything we needed. We had roads, bridges, canals, railroads, schools, hospitals, charities, and there wasn't hardly any government. We kept almost everything we had. We had almost unlimited immigration, and it wasn't a problem. We weren't even counting who was coming in to the country because there was no welfare. They came here to work. They were not draining us. They were contributing. They were building the country. So I think we really need to reevaluate, why is the government providing goods and services at all? It really shouldn't. It really can't. The government has no customers. They cannot respond to markets. They cannot respond to budgets. This is the theme I'm seeing everywhere. And we really need to reevaluate the role of government in society. I don't think it can deliver goods and services at all.
Very good.
I agree with that.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate everybody's time
Thanks,
tonight.
Joe.
God bless you
John.
all very much. Have a good night.
Commissioner, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
Now you cry. Tears don't work. Truth don't lie. The games are done.